We're putting your memory to the test with iconic catchphrases and unforgettable lines from vintage TV and film. You'll have 5 seconds to guess the show or movie each quote came from. Track your score, play along, and share how many you nailed in the comments. Ready to roll? Let's play. That big friendly greeting came from Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, voiced by Bill Cosby. A Saturday morning classic. That cold philosophy came from Neil McCauley in Heat, played with intensity by Robert De Niro. That unforgettable phrase came from Lieutenant Columbo on the detective series Columbo, played brilliantly by Peter Falk. Bixby Snyder's over-the-top catchphrase became a cult classic in RoboCop. Played by S.D. Nemeth, it was pure 80s satire gold. That command was from Steve McGarrett on Hawaii Five-0, played by Jack Lord. Did you nail that one? That line came from the chilling General Zod in Superman 2, portrayed with cold authority by Terrence Stamp. If you remember radio call signs, you know this one from Chips. 7, Mary 3 and 4, John and Ponch are forever linked to that call. That hilarious denial came from Sergeant Schultz on Hogan's Heroes, played by John Banner, one of TV's most lovable liars. That exasperated cry came from Felix Unger on The Odd Couple, perfectly performed by Tony Randall. You could almost hear the sigh. That excited announcement came from Tattoo on Fantasy Island, played by Hervé Villechaize. That smooth greeting came from Freddie Boom Boom Washington on Welcome Back, Kotter, played by Lawrence Hilton Jacobs. Did you remember that one? Fonzie didn't need much to make an impression. Henry Winkler turned this one word into TV legend on Happy Days. That heartfelt shout came from Rocky Balboa in Rocky, delivered by Sylvester Stallone. Pure underdog magic. That warning came from the robot on Lost in Space, voiced by Dick Tufeld. Hope that brought back memories. That dry observation came from Mr. Spock on Star Trek, delivered with perfect calm by Leonard Nimoy. That creeped-out line came from Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, spoken by Harrison Ford. That legendary invitation was shouted by Johnny Olson on The Price is Right. Did you ever dream of hearing your name next? Every mission began with those tense words. Bob Johnson's voice set the tone on Mission Impossible. A staple of Laugh-In, this phrase packed punch, humor, and surprise, usually followed by a comedic splash or jab. That dramatic clutch-the-heart line was Fred Sanford's signature on Sanford & Son, delivered by the great Red Fox, classic comedy gold. That nasal, nerdy catchphrase was Steve Urkel's calling card on Family Matters, played hilariously by Jaleel White. How's your score so far? Jim McKay's voice carried the drama of sports into every living room, a line you felt in your bones if you grew up with it. It was Ralph Cramden's softer side. Jackie Gleason turned this into a sweet, recurring capstone on The Honeymooners. That defiant farewell came from Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind, delivered with cool indifference by Clark Gable. Iconic Hollywood. Few lines carry as much weight as this one. Sidney Poitier delivered it with unmatched conviction in the Heat of the Night. Mae West purred this line with playful charm as Lady Lou in She Done Him Wrong, a defining moment of silver screen sass. That romantic line came from Jennifer in Love Story, spoken by Ally McGraw. Still makes hearts ache. Did that one ring a bell? That fiery quote came from a bandit in The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, delivered memorably by Alfonso Bedoya. That gentle closing line ended countless episodes of The Waltons. Did your family say it together too? That eerie intro came from The Outer Limits, narrated by Vic Perrin. It set the tone for some truly mind-bending episodes. Ed Sullivan made this phrase famous every Sunday night. It became a pop culture landmark. Flip Wilson, as Geraldine, owned this line with flair and sass on The Flip Wilson Show, a crowd favorite every time. That bit of Jedi wisdom came from Yoda in The Empire Strikes Back, voiced by Frank Oz. In Shane, Alan Ladd's quiet intensity brought this line to life. Western philosophy with a punch. That sharp jab came from Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon, a calm, cutting line from the martial arts master himself. Laura Petrie's lovable frustration was part of the charm on The Dick Van Dyke Show. Mary Tyler Moore delivered it with perfect timing. This three-word line became Arnold's signature in The Terminator. Simple, cold, and unforgettable. That sharp shutdown came from Archie Bunker on All in the Family, brought to life by Carol O'Connor. Gary Coleman's delivery as Arnold made this one of TV's most quoted lines. Did you grin the moment you heard it? Patrick McGoohan's shout of rebellion in The Prisoner still echoes with fans of classic British TV, a true cult classic. That famous line came from B.A. Baracus on the A-Team, delivered with trademark growl by Mr. T. What's your score now? That urgent directive came from the doctors on Emergency, usually Dr. Brackett or Dr. Early, played by Robert Fuller and Bobby Troop, classic TV trauma medicine. That grim observation came from Matthias, the mutant leader in The Omega Man, chillingly played by Anthony Zerbe. Remember that eerie philosophy? Rod Tidwell's shout became an instant pop culture moment. Cuba Gooding Jr. brought energy and fire to every word. That epic intro described Superman on the Adventures of Superman, voiced by Bill Kennedy, still thrilling after all these years. That haunting final line came from Carl Denham in the original King Kong, delivered by Robert Armstrong, a tragic end for the Beast and Beauty alike. Sometimes the quietest line carries the most weight. Clint Eastwood gave this one all the grit in The Outlaw Josie Wales. You heard that eerie invitation from the computer in War Games, voiced through the system Joshua, brought to life by John Wood. That casual confession came from Clyde Barrow in Bonnie and Clyde, delivered by Warren Beatty. That cold perspective came from Arthur Bishop in The Mechanic, spoken by Charles Bronson, a chilling hitman's logic. That brutal assertion came from Sergeant Barnes in Platoon, delivered by Tom Berenger. That slippery line came from J.R. Ewing on Dallas, played with delicious deceit by Larry Hagman. Snagglepuss never missed a dramatic moment. Voiced by Dawes Butler, his signature "Heavens to Murgatroyd" was pure cartoon gold. Still tallying those points? If you watched Wild Kingdom, you probably heard this line more than once. Marlon Perkins delivered it with calm authority. Simple, wise, and unforgettable. Mr. Miyagi, played by Pat Morita, used this phrase to teach more than just karate in The Karate Kid. Only Gene Wilder could make this sound both charming and unsettling. As Willy Wonka, he was magic in every line. Clint Eastwood said this to an orangutan. Yep, every which way but loose was a whole vibe. Stallone was all business in Cobra, and this line oozes 80s action attitude. Did it punch through your memory? In Once Upon a Time in the West, Henry Fonda's Frank had a ruthless way with words, and this line cuts sharp. Al Pacino gave this line haunting gravity as Michael Corleone in The Godfather Part 3. Did you recognize it? Kathleen Turner purred this line in Body Heat. Maddie Walker knew how to draw someone in, dangerously so. Joey Tai, played by John Lone in Year of the Dragon, laid down this slick metaphor about power and money. Stallone exploded with raw emotion as Rambo in First Blood. This line hit hard, and still does. Dr. Frankenstein's cry of creation echoed through film history. Colin Clive delivered it in Frankenstein with unforgettable madness. Yul Brynner's commanding presence as Ramesses in the Ten Commandments made this decree feel carved in stone. Did you remember that one? So, how'd you do? Tell us your final score in the comments, and let us know which quote brought back the biggest memory. If you enjoyed the trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with a fellow nostalgia buff.